All right, let's talk to Petros. Is that right? Petros from Petros and Money is with us. How are you, sir?
What's popping, guys?
What's hack? What's hack? What's shaking, Bob? Hey, listen, we got a couple of...
What's with y'all? What's cracking, man?
We got some great questions for you. And again,
Fresh out of
Petros,
ponchos.
half of the Petros and Money machine over there at KLAC, Fox Sports LA. And a couple of things. First of all, the Pacquiao fight, do you think these people are going to get any money back who are filing the lawsuit, lawsuit against Pacquiao for not disclosing his injury?
Who would you call if a dog bit you in the nether regions?
The dog owner.
No, like what lawyer?
Oh, I see. Oh, yes. Oh, you got to call the man, the main man.
Sweet James Bergener.
Yeah, but would he? No, you think there's any way people are going to get the cash back?
Well, Bergener came on today and told us no.
No. Okay.
And as you know, I bow to Bergener's legal knowledge, as do you. I sleep under the blanket of freedom that Bergener provides, as do you.
Yes. And why did he say so? What was his theory?
He said that there's going to be too much of a circuitous route to get there.
Oh, I see. Okay.
And it's going to be very difficult to prove when the shoulder was hurt, how hurt the shoulder was, and how much they disclosed or who knew and didn't know that the guy was hurt. But I feel pretty duped. I think it was pretty stupid, and I think the Pacquiao camp was put in a terrible situation given the fact that he was hurt and there was all this hype and this whole thing was leading up to it and everybody had these plans to be there and Vegas had, as you know, billions of dollars invested.
Sure.
And they went ahead and did it. I guess the problem was that he lost the fight and then started complaining about being hurt.
Yeah, but if I was one of those guys who bet $500,000 on Pacquiao and I didn't know about the injury, I would be so effing livid that I would personally go after him.
As I say to people like you, Tim, that's why they call it gambling.
No, that's not true though. I think they call it gambling, but it's like when you're handicapping a horse race, you got to know whether that horse has one lung. Like let's say they took a lung out of that horse the day before. You want to know that.
Let me tell you a story.
That's why the California, the state board regulates that and makes you disclose crap like that.
To a certain degree, but let me tell you a very short story about myself.
Oh, good.
The night before we played a game in Washington when I was a sophomore in 1997, Washington was very good. I stayed up all night reading William Faulkner's The Sound and the Fury. The book freaked me out, and I could not concentrate during the game. A couple guys ran by me and blew up some dudes, and there were some turnovers, and I would imagine it affected the score of the game.
Wow.
Am I supposed to call Joey Fish Eyes and tell him that I'm not? I had a rough night. I mean, how could you know everything? You just can't as a gambler.
I know, but that's a team sport where
you're right.
You're an important part of it.
Yeah, I thought it was an entertaining story.
It's a great story, though. Was that before you injured your foot?
Yeah, that was before.
Oh boy. All right, now let's get into Deflategate because that's a big story. The findings came out today. What did they discover? Who knew what, and when did they know it?
Everybody knew everything, and the whole thing's BS. But just quickly, if you just allow me, just briefly. I also feel duped by the fight, and I'd be duped by another one, and I'm a sucker, and I hate myself for it.
Right.
Is that fair?
Well, you know what? That's fair, but I think if I didn't pay for the fight, but if I paid for the fight and I put strong money on it, life-changing money on it, I would be really pissed.
Yeah, so would I, But I just don't know how they're going to retrieve it. You should talk to Sweet James. He had some pretty good legal arguments for the whole thing.
Yeah, but that's one of the reasons why I don't bet boxing, because for the longest time, the promoters pay the judges, they pay the referee, they pay everybody. So there's a lot of room there for squigglies.
You're right, and if you've ever been to a boxing kind of press conference or any event, you see that it is the barnacles of the sports universe. I mean, it really is. It's like a prison waiting room. I mean, boxing has turned really shady, and it's sad because I like boxing. Now, to the Deflategate.
Yes.
Can I ask you a quick question?
You got it.
Do you care if Tom Brady's throwing a deflated football?
I care if he's throwing a deflated football and the other team is not, because they're playing by the rules.
Every quarterback that's big time, starting in college, when you know who your starter is, and this guy is going to throw a bunch of balls maybe 40 times in a football game at a high level in college, those balls are doctored in whatever way. I don't know if I don't even think doctored is the right way to put it. Those balls are made suitable to that guy's personal preference. Some guys like to throw an overly inflated ball, like a rugby beach ball. Some guys like to throw a skinny, flaccid ball, a la Matt Barkley or Tom Brady.
Would you consider that cheating?
No.
No.
No, because to me, football is more about me choking you on the line of scrimmage than how much air is in the ball. I mean, if you would talk to guys that handle a ball as their job and they throw the ball for the job, quarterbacks and pitchers, I would say 50% of them do something to make the ball more quote unquote suitable to their preference, and within the boundaries, within certain boundaries that are not the rules. The rules are different boundaries than the boundaries of football.
Let me ask you a quick question. And you've grown up around sports. Your whole life has been sports. Pete Carroll's call to throw it for the last play of the last Super Bowl, where Seattle would have won if they ran it into the end zone. Is that considered the worst call in the history of football or the history of sports?
There was a call once where in a play, it wasn't. I mean, certainly yes, because of what was on the line, and I think it will go down as such. And we'll see if Seattle's able to shake it going into next year. There's going to be heavy celebration of Russell Wilson as a person and a player, like there always is. Let's see if they can recover, because I know there was a lot more than one person on that team that was really disappointed in what happened there, and it could split the team in two. We'll see what happens.
Right, but is it possible that one call broke up what could have been considered a dynasty?
It's possible. Usually you don't say that football came down to one moment because things are sequential after that moment, and not before. But it's really difficult. It's really difficult to not say that. I mean, you're absolutely right. It's going to go down as the worst call ever. And if Seattle doesn't bounce back and at least make it to the conference championship, I think people will point to it forever. In the same way they point to that game and the way USC lost against Texas.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. Hey, real quickly, I've become addicted to the Dan Patrick Show.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And I don't know what it is, but Dan Patrick and the Danettes, I wake up and watch that on TV every morning.
Wow. Okay.
Isn't that crazy?
I haven't been on that show in years.
You got to go on that show. I'd love to see you on that show.
Well, I don't think that I don't really call. I asked to come on your show because we're friends, but
listen. I bet they'd love to have you on that show.
I don't think so. They know my number. They've not reached out, and I was living in a condominium. That was like 2 houses ago.
Did you move away from the Peacocks? Is that the problem?
No, I'll never forget. I did the interview, and I was like early in the morning, obviously, so I was kind of tired. And I got to work, and Don Martin, my boss, said, "Did you hear yourself on that show, my man? You were mellow, but you were smooth. It was like a whole different you, my man."
That's great.
But no, I don't think they like us because Matt and they like us, but there is a little bit of history between PMS and the Dan Patrick Show, Tim. Do you know that?
Listen, I got to take a quick break. Can we come back and talk for 2 seconds about it?
My wife's trying to get me to take her to get pizza.
All right, then tell me real quick.
All right. Listen, they had a thing with an Arcade Fire song that we started playing first, and then they started playing it, totally jacked it from us, and Matt almost fought the dude Seaton at a Super Bowl party. I was going to have to come over the top if that guy got a hold of Matt. I would have too,
Oh, yeah.
So it got heated, almost like at a Super Bowl party where people were drinking. Matt started to kind of get after it. So that happened, and there's other things. Anyway.
Okay,
how about that?
That's unbelievable. I got a quick question for you. James Buccigrass, you know who that is?
No.
Is that how you pronounce his name? ESPN?
No, John.
Oh, no, John.
John Buccigrass.
John, yeah.
He said the other night a guy did a slam dunk, and he yelled out "ding dong." He moved to Los Angeles, I think, 6 months or a year ago.
I'm going to call him out, Buccigrass, you freaking thief. You freaking balding thief.
Is that possible?
Conway's job.
Is it possible he took that from us?
Es posible.
All right. All right, thank you, sir, for coming on. Go get pizza.
Sorry about that.
All right,
I love
Bob.
You guys.
You are the best.